Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe right now. This is a very important topic that a lot of people aren't talking about. Just 3 months ago, I'll put a PBS NewsHour segment below in the description. Taiwan's foreign minister says China is preparing for war. Here's Taiwan's response plan. Okay, that's just 3 months ago. The other day, you had, 16 hours ago, China condemns U.S. warship transit of Taiwan Strait. And you have Reuters, U.S. warship transits Taiwan Strait after Chinese assault drills. You've had close to 40 fighter jets from China enter Taiwan's airspace in the past couple of months. They are getting ready, very likely, to invade or impose a blockade of Taiwan. They believe it's part of the mainland. They don't believe it's an independent country. We have an ambiguous diplomatic tie to Taiwan. Part of our national security is to defend Taiwan, to ensure that it remains as independent as possible from China. Now, ordinarily, we could be able to do that. We would be able to defend Taiwan with the help of the quote-unquote international community. The international community has lost hope, almost certainly, in President Biden. Mashed potato brains within the past couple of months, within the past couple of weeks, has single-handedly caused one of the worst days in American history. 13 Americans lost their lives, and close to 200 Afghans, because Biden did not withdraw Americans in a strategic and responsible manner. All he had to do was abide by the Doha Agreement, which was negotiated by Trump. You might say that wasn't a good agreement. You might say we should have stayed there forever. You can't stay in a country in a counterinsurgency conflict forever. The reason we left is because of days like the other day, where you don't know who your adversary is, and your adversaries are working together to kick you out of the country, and the Biden administration actually let the T-Ban, we'll just call him the T-Ban for the algorithm, let the T-Ban hold security or gave them the job of vetting people before they got to the airport. So essentially outside the airport in Kabul, the security forces were actually our adversaries, the T-Ban. Biden gave them lists of American names and Afghan names. So if, God forbid, anyone's left behind, what do you think's going to happen to those people on those lists that Biden gave our adversaries? So it's not about, I wrote against counterinsurgency conflicts in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salam, the Jerusalem Post. Those articles are on hagoodman.com. I have a new opinion piece in the Jerusalem Post. That's below the pinned comment. Okay? But ladies and gentlemen, this issue with Taiwan and China, there's no possible way it can work out well for Taiwan or for us, because we are mired, we are stuck with evacuating Americans in Afghanistan. We have to focus on that. If, God forbid, China decides to invade Taiwan or blockade Taiwan, hit subscribe to this channel right now. This is the only channel. I'm one of the few people talking about this. This is what could be another foreign policy disaster, but it could lead to, God forbid, a nuclear confrontation. They have nuclear weapons. So it's not like we can get into a conventional war with China. That's not going to happen. It wouldn't happen. It didn't happen with the Soviet Union because of mutually assured destruction, and it wouldn't happen now with China. We wouldn't get into a conventional military confrontation. It would be like a Cuban Missile Crisis type of thing. And one reason we were able to get out of the Cuban Missile Crisis without World War III was because Kennedy, JFK, did not listen to his advisors. He was able to think for himself and say, no, I'm not going to invade Cuba. What I'll do is just blockade Cuba and make sure that those missiles are removed. But he was told to invade. And we found out years later that had they invaded, there would have been a nuclear catastrophe. And so, but we don't have that type of leader. We have somebody, mashed potato brains, and he is surrounded by his merry band of highly educated, complete imbeciles and buffoons, like bumbling Blinken, who is so incompetent he should be impeached. Biden should be impeached immediately, but Democrats won't do that. They actually enjoy failure. So we have a homelessness crisis that's growing. It's going to get worse because a moratorium on evictions is about to end. Democrats have tanked society gleefully to keep people safe based on sciency, because of safety and sciency. Let's just leave it at that. They've tanked society, and then they said, well, we're doing it to keep you safe and happy and healthy. And so now people are going to be evicted from their apartments or homes because they lost their jobs, they lost their work, and they have, on average, close to $6,000. The average American who is facing eviction has about $6,000 in rent that's past due. And so you have to ask yourself, we have all of these problems. I say focus on your health and your happiness. If you're blessed and if you're lucky and fortunate enough to be blessed and not have to worry about these things, focus on your health. And even if you are worrying about these things, focus on the positivity, something beautiful in your life, and just completely ignore the noise. This channel, news in general, should be either entertainment or just to be informed. You shouldn't take it we're going to have, unfortunately, tough times ahead for the next couple of years because we don't have an administration. Everything they feared about Trump, the reality is that Biden exemplifies that. Biden personifies all the absurd fears that they had of Trump. He was, completely irresponsible and incompetent. Nothing could be further from the truth. Trump presided over record low unemployment. He signed the First Step Act. He presided over the Abraham Accords, the negotiated deal to bring Americans home. All Americans, our soldiers and the people there. Had we simply abided by that deal, none of this would have happened. But the whole world knows that we're at our lowest point now since Jimmy Carter, okay? And that's because Biden decided to spite Trump. But President Trump was the first president to step foot in North Korea. To begin détente between North and South Korea, President Moon Jae-in stated that Trump deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, okay? You can disagree with Trump and his foreign policy, but he got things done. He was able to implement his vision of foreign policy. Biden does not have a vision. He's only had foreign policy debacles in his life. From voting alongside Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld, WMD, believing the wonderful intelligence community that's been wrong about the Bay of Pigs, Gulf of Tonkin, WMD, now this. The intelligence community he blamed didn't tell him, then they say, oh, we told him. The whole thing's a gigantic mess. These are the people who opposed Trump, who called him an authoritarian and a despot. And usually authoritarians and despots don't sign prison reform legislation and remove Americans or negotiate a deal to remove Americans. Biden decided on May 1st to start the withdrawal and the evacuation. We were already supposed to be out May 1st. He knew that after May 1st, the adversaries there wouldn't be happy and they would make things very difficult for us. Now we face a situation where Taiwan is very likely going to be invaded or blockaded by the Chinese Navy. There could be an invasion. I don't know what could take place, but it would be an international, it would be a potential for nuclear war and World War III, because our Navy would then try to, I don't know how we would defend Taiwan. I don't know how. We wouldn't engage in a direct military confrontation, but we would need the UN Security Council. Russia might side with China. Who knows what France would do? Okay? And so we don't have the support around the world because Biden showed the world that we can't even evacuate Americans in a responsible manner because Democrats in their foreign policy, their mindset is oppose Trump at all costs. If Trump said don't jump off a cliff, they would gleefully jump off a cliff. They did that. Trump said open up the economy. We should have opened up the economy last year. We wouldn't have this eviction crisis. You could have taken measures to keep people safe. But see, Democrats, emotion first, then logic and reason second. Social media paranoia first, then rational dialogue and discourse and reasonable policies second. Give me your thoughts below. This could end very badly. And, you would think a nuclear confrontation would mean somebody would back off. I don't think President Xi will back off at all. Biden, who knows what he would do? And who knows tell me an outcome that worked out well for Biden. Tell me an outcome. Tell me a foreign policy outcome. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe.